Everybody, it's Charles, your hobby hero, and today we're going to be talking about the absolute hottest comic that is out right now. But before we get started, if you haven't already, please click that subscribe button down in the bottom corner. I do appreciate it. I put out regular content about the hobbies I love the most. Now, this is not just clickbait. We're going to be talking about a comic that has increased over 2,000% of its value in less than a week's time. That issue, if you haven't already figured it out, is going to be Black Panther number 3, Legacy number 200, specifically the 1-in-25 ratio. Now, the regular cover A's and regular cover price for this book was $6.99, with the 1-in-25 ratio cover selling on January 25th for a $30 price tag. And this was actually the day before the book released. Yes, this book is not even a week old yet. So following release day, this book shot up to about a $90 price tag on New Comic Book Wednesday, and from then has exploded, hitting a high sale of $585. Now you might be thinking these are just proxy bids or shill buys to market manipulate. I can tell you personally that I sold a copy of the book I listed for $400, got an offer for $350 within minutes of selling it, and the buyer has already paid. So these books are moving at a very high price tag. Obviously, every copy that's selling is not mine, so I can't confirm every single one of these sales is legit, but there's a lot of these sales coming through for them to all be shill. And again, like I said, this book is less than 1 week old, with New Comic Book release last week of January 26th. This is unlike anything I have ever seen. So who or what makes this book so valuable? So this is actually the first appearance of a character named Tosin, and this character is being hyped tremendously. It was listed in an article by Screen Rant, by Bleeding Cool, by comicbook.com, by polygon.com, and laughingplace.com have all written articles about this character. One of them even going so far as to say he is going to be the next incarnation of Miles Morales. This has obviously got people in a frenzy and just buying this book at absolutely any price tag that apparently gets thrown up there. So who is this character realistically? Well, we don't see a whole lot of him in this issue. You have 3 stories that are part of this issue, hence the reason why the initial MSRP was a little higher. It's a big book, with his story being at the very end. And honestly, we don't see much about him. He's angry. He's not happy with the politics that are in place in Wakanda. He's not happy with the old regime either, so he wasn't loyal to the king. He's from a tribe that basically thinks Wakanda has exploited vibranium, and then it's more of a natural, holistic relationship with vibranium that they should be trying to achieve. Now, we've seen very little of his power so far. He basically shows up, knocks some random dude out, and appears to be moving very fast when he does it, which has given people the idea that he has super speed. Does he have super speed? Was it motion lines? Does he have some other kind of power? Maybe he teleports? We don't know. I'll be honest with you, after reading it, I was a little skeptical about how much of a character this guy was really going to be, because he really just seems like an angry, adolescent, less violent Killmonger, with obviously a power set that goes in line with theirs. So when you draw that comparison to the next Miles Morales, I think that's a bit of a leap. Keep in mind, Miles Morales has had an entire decade to grow and mature and become what he is today. He also had the help of 2 video games where he was in it, 2 animated movies now, and nearly 10 different solo series, with a number of team series, and just being across the board in just tons of books. All of that to get him where he is at today. And so why do people think that this book is going to get there? So as I mentioned, this 1-in-25, in its comparison, if you really think he's going to be the next Miles Morales, then you have a huge upside down the road. If a book is going to be worth $30,000 10 years from now, buying it at $500 right now seems like a steal. And I think that's the mentality people are going to when they're closing on all these auctions that are going off. thing you have to remember, outside of all the other stuff that Miles had going for him, he's also a Spider-Man character. And regardless of what your personal opinions may be on the fashion that particular subject, Spider-Man characters are always just going to garner more desirability than a Black Panther character. To put that in perspective, you can get Black Panther's first appearance all the way back from 1966 in a mid-low grade copy for the same price as you can get this 1 in 25 for right now. That should tell you something about how popular of a character overall Black Panther really is. So what would it take to make this book really shine and be worth those $500 to $600 price tag it's pulling in? Well, I think the first thing that has to happen is there has to be a secession of the Black Panther title to Tosin. I think that's really the only way this can possibly happen, is if he does assume the mantle of Black Panther in the comic books. I think a lot of people are speculating that he might. I did notice in this issue of Black Panther, they appeared to have aged Black Panther quite a bit, aged Storm quite a bit. I think there's an opportunity for a storyline to open up where Black Panther retires the mantle just due to the frustration of all the political back and forth, retires as the Black Panther and goes to live with Storm on Mars. I don't think you can kill the Black Panther off in the comic book. One, because characters never stay dead. If something happens to that, I think it brings the possibility of him coming back, which I think is bad for the long-term prospects of Tosin. But I think if he doesn't assume the mantle and he's just another Wakandan who's angry and wants change in Wakanda, I think this character becomes very forgettable very quickly. Next thing that happens is, honestly, even after he's assumed the mantle, being the star in a Black Panther book, I don't think is enough to do it. I think we also have to see intent from Marvel Studios to bring Tosin in as the Black Panther in the MCU. At the end of the day, the MCU appearances is really what moves the needle. Even if we draw the comparison to Miles Morales, that book is worth what it is because people are speculating about the enormous explosion, that potential that it has if and when Miles Morales shows up for the MCU. So I think we've got a lot of boxes to check before we get there. Now, me personally, if you have this book, I think it is an amazing time to sell. I think this book is probably due for a pretty big pullback unless there's a very quick progression of this character towards that mantle of taking the Black Panther, but I don't think Marvel's going to rush this. I think for very long-term values, we have to hope that they do take their time and do this the right way. However, having said that, it's probably going to mean this book is going to start to pull back as this character kind of develops and lets us as the audience really know who he is. I think you're going to see this 1 in 25 come back down. So if you are in the market for picking this up, you're really hot on this character for whatever reason, I would wait, get a little bit of a retrace. How far will this book go down? It's hard to say. You've got a lot of people out there that are really heavily invested in this book who aren't going to want to let their copies go for much less than what they paid for it. But we will see. If you guys disagree with me, though, let me know. If you think this character is the next Miles Morales, it's a layup, slam dunk at the $585 price, let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, though, guys, Hobby Hero out.